When your female cat chooses one person in the house, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it can look like favoritism, but behind that closeness, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally intimate patterns your cat can create, and if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you might push her away without realizing it. Let's start with what that loyalty really means. 1. It's not favoritism, it's a safety map. Have you ever noticed your cat walk past everyone else in the room, then quietly settle next to one specific person, like the decision was already made, long before she even got there? Most people think this is just attitude. They say female cats are picky, aloof, or dramatic. Here's what's actually happening. What you're usually seeing is not a random preference. It's a cat building a map of safety. Over time, she learns who moves gently, who respects her space, who speaks in a familiar rhythm, who feeds her without pressure, and who doesn't force interaction when she wants distance. Cats bond through repetition, predictability, and emotional safety far more than people realize. Behavior guidance from MSD Vet Manual notes that positive, predictable interactions are especially important for cats, and welfare guidance from PDSA stresses that affection is shaped more by individual personality and life experience than by simple sex stereotypes. Here's why this matters. When your cat chooses one person, she's not being cold to everyone else. She's telling you where she feels most regulated. Think about that for a second. To a cat, trust is not loud. It's not dramatic. It looks like a quiet pattern repeated over days, weeks, and months. And by the way, if your cat ever suddenly stops choosing that person, don't brush it off. We'll come back to that at the end, because it matters more than most owners think. 2. She's not just watching you, she's tracking you. Ever notice how your cat can be half asleep and still react the second one specific person stands up, speaks, or walks down the hallway? Most people assume she just knows the routine. Here's what's actually happening. A 2019 Oregon State University study found that cats form attachment bonds with human caregivers similar to the bonds seen in children and dogs. In that work, many cats used their human as a source of comfort in a new environment. Then, in 2021, researchers showed that cats mentally map their owner's location from the owner's voice, even when they can't see them. Earlier research also found that cats can discriminate their owner's voice from a stranger's voice. What does that mean in real life? It means your cat is not just reacting to noise. She is tracking a person, a specific person. Here's why this matters. When a female cat picks one person in the house, she often isn't just picking their lap or their room. She's orienting her nervous system around them. Their footsteps, their timing, their tone, their daily rhythm start to feel familiar enough to organize around. That's far more intimate than it sounds. Because once a cat starts using your presence as an emotional reference point, your absence feels different too. And this is where it gets even more powerful. The bond is no longer just about food or convenience. It becomes expectation, recognition, and comfort. 3. She's making you smell like home. Have you ever wondered why your cat rubs her face on one person's legs, hand, phone, pillow, or even the sleeve they just took off? Most people think it's just affection. Here's what's actually happening. Cats have scent glands on the cheeks, forehead, and chin. When they headbutt or rub against you, they deposit pheromones. VCA explains that this kind of rubbing is not the same as aggressive territorial marking. It's connected to trust, bond building, and creating a safe, familiar space. In other words, when your cat rubs on you, she is not only saying, "You're mine," she is also saying, "You're part of where I feel safe." Here's why this matters. Cats mark what matters to them. Not everything, not everyone. What matters. So when your female cat repeatedly chooses one person to greet this way, she may be doing something deeply intimate, blending her scent with theirs, so that person becomes part of her emotional world. Think about that for a second. To you, it looks tiny. A soft cheek against your hand, a quick head bump against your shin. To her, that's an invisible bond. That's her turning a person into familiar territory. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. 4. This bond starts earlier than you think. Have you ever wondered why this behavior feels so instinctive, almost ancient, like your cat decided with her body before she ever decided with her mind? Most owners think the bond starts when the cat gets comfortable in the house. Here's what's actually happening. Researchers from Oregon State University noted that attachment to humans may be an adaptation of the offspring-caretaker bond that matters because kittenhood is built around proximity, warmth, rhythm, smell, and safety. VCA also notes that kittens use smell to identify their mother and find milk. So from the very beginning of life, a cat's brain is wiring comfort through repeated sensory familiarity. Here's why this matters. When your cat bonds tightly to one person, part of what you're seeing may be an old survival system redirected toward a human she trusts. Not because she thinks you are literally her mother, but because her body still remembers what safety feels like. Warmth nearby, a familiar scent, a calm rhythm, a presence that doesn't threaten. What makes this even more meaningful is that domestic cats have carried those ancient patterns into modern homes. So when she curls near one person during quiet moments, follows them at night, or settles only when they're nearby, that behavior may be tapping into the deepest layer of feline security. This didn't begin in your living room, it began in kittenhood. 5. She chose you because you're predictable, not because you're loud. Why does your cat choose one person instead of the person who tries hardest, calls her most, or constantly asks for attention? Most people think cats bond most with whoever gives them the most affection. Here's what's actually happening. Cats often prefer the person who feels easiest to read. Research and behavioral guidance consistently point toward familiarity, predictability, and positive social patterns. MSD Vet Manual emphasizes that inconsistent routines can create chronic stress for cats, while owner-focused speech studies found that cats respond differently when their own person speaks to them in a cat-directed tone compared with a stranger doing the same thing. Here's why this matters. Your cat may not be choosing the most enthusiastic person in the house. She may be choosing the most emotionally legible one, the one who doesn't corner her, the one who notices her pauses, the one who pets, then stops, the one who lets her return. Think about that for a second. Cats don't usually build their strongest bonds through intensity. They build them through control, through choice, through the feeling that they can approach and retreat without being punished for either one. So if your female cat keeps picking the same person, it may be because that person makes connection feel safe enough to choose, and cats do not choose that lightly. 6. What she's really saying is, I can be vulnerable with you. Have you ever seen your cat rest near one person in a way that feels different from ordinary closeness? Her body soft, her eyes heavy, her guard lowered. Most people see affection and stop there. Here's what's actually happening. This is what most owners never realize. At the deepest level, choosing one person is often about selective vulnerability. Cats are both predator and prey. Their instincts tell them to stay alert, protect space, and stay in control. So when a cat repeatedly chooses one human to relax beside, orient toward, scent mark, and emotionally track, she is doing something that costs her something. She is lowering vigilance. She is surrendering a bit of control. The attachment findings from Oregon State, along with research showing cats track owners by voice and build secure familiarity through scent and routine, point to the same truth. A bonded cat is not just staying close, she is using that person as safety. Remember earlier when I said this behavior could mean something far deeper? This is what I was talking about. Here's why this matters. Your cat is not simply being sweet. She is choosing connection over caution. That is a very different thing. So the next time your cat ignores the whole room and quietly chooses one person, remember, she may be showing the most profound form of feline trust there is. Not excitement, not dependency, safety. 7. If she suddenly stops, don't ignore it. Now let's come back to that earlier warning. What if your cat used to follow one person, rub on them, sleep near them, wait outside their door, and then suddenly stops? Most people assume the bond faded. Here's what's actually happening. Sometimes the relationship changed, but sometimes your cat is stressed, physically uncomfortable, or unwell. VCA notes that when a cat loses interest in headbutting or rubbing and that change appears with other behavior shifts, it can be a sign she isn't feeling well. MSD Vet Manual also notes that stress and inconsistency can show up as sickness behaviors and other changes in daily patterns. Here's why this matters. A favorite person bond is one of the most stable patterns many cats have, so when that pattern breaks suddenly, pay attention, not with panic, with care. Watch for appetite changes, hiding irritability, altered sleep spots, less greeting behavior, or a cat who seems present but emotionally withdrawn. This is where most owners get it wrong. They assume distance means attitude. Sometimes distance means something hurts. Don't ignore it. So when your female cat chooses one person in the house, do you actually know what that means? It means she may be doing far more than showing preference. She may be building a safety map, tracking a familiar voice, blending her scent with yours, and choosing the one person whose presence lets her finally lower her guard. That's not favoritism, that's trust shaped by instinct, memory, and emotional safety. And that quiet choice she keeps making, over and over again, was never small to her. And it shouldn't be small to you either.